Welcome back, YouTube fam. So today on this video, you are going to learn how you can get into house hacking, how a normal person just like yourself did it themselves, and how you can do this in whatever market you're in, whether or not it should benefit you if you house hack. Because let me tell you something, the number one expense in your budget is what? Mortgage or rent. So if you learn how to cut that expense in half or remove it completely, you are going to be able to save a lot of money and invest a lot of money. So let me tell you how you can do this yourself. So number one, if you can go the traditional route of getting a loan. A lot of people recommend for you to get either a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex. A fourplex is the most you can get before it turns into a commercial loan, because when you have 5 units or more, when you get a loan, it actually is a commercial loan. So a fourplex is the most you can get if you're going to be living in the property, right? House hacking, you don't need to buy a duplex, triplex, or fourplex. You can house hack by owning a house. I know a lot of people that would change the garage and make it into a living space and rent that room out with utilities, right? That's a form of house hacking. Another form would be maybe if you have a guest house in the back, right? And you rent that out. That's another form of house hacking. All you're doing is lowering, right, your mortgage on your property because someone else is paying part of it. Right? So whether you're able to completely make that disappear, at least have part of it paid off, it's going to definitely benefit you and increase your income. So I would say, one of the best ways to do it, I would recommend getting, if you can, get a fourplex. That's what my husband and I were able to do about 4 years ago. And so we were going to live in the property. So we had no problem living in the property. If you have no problem doing that, then I would recommend that, right? So it gives you some landlord experience if you're going to self-manage, which I would recommend, because you build that skill set of, what kind of tenants am I, are these units attracting, etc. How much can I rent this out for? All these things. So I would say you can get a loan. You can either get an FHA loan if you're going to live on the property, and the minimum you have to put down is a 3.5% down. So for example, when my husband and I bought this fourplex, we put 3.5% down. It was about, I can't remember, but it was around $23,000 to $25,000 more or less, right? The purchase price was about $370,000, right? And so that's what we put down to be able to buy the property. That was like with closing and everything. I'm just going off of memory here, right? So that's to give you an idea of what you need to have saved, or somehow, I don't know, ask family members or something so you can actually buy it, so that you can own something like this at that kind of price point. Now, if you're in a market where it's a lot less, then you don't need as much money to actually, buy something to that caliber. If you buy a duplex, all this matters. When I would say house hacking or buying a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex really makes no sense is based off the 1% rule. So let me break it down for you real quick here. So let's say you buy a duplex for $200,000, but you can only rent out both units for $1,000. It doesn't make sense to buy that. You're overpaying for your property, and you're not going to make the money that you need to be able to pay for all your maintenance, all your expenses, all the capital expenditures that come with owning something like this, and pay your mortgage and make money. You won't.
You won't do it.
Now, if you're buying a duplex for $200,000 and it follows the 1% rule where you're making 1% of that in rent, so in this case it would be $2,000 in rent, then I would say then it does benefit you to buy that, right? You're not going to get the 1% rule in every market across the United States, but I would say it is a good rule to follow. I do get that in my property, and even a little bit better than that. So I would say depending on where you are at, it would make sense if the purchase price makes sense, right? But I see a lot of deals right now, especially in my local market, where there's a fourplex right now for almost $800,000 in Naples, Florida. Do I want to buy that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because I am not going to be able to rent it for $8,000. I'm going to spend a lot of money, and I'm not going to make my money back, because really, at least our goal, and I would say it's probably a lot of people's goals, is, you know, you want to at least eliminate your mortgage expense, because you need to be saving every single month for maintenance, for, you know, the big capital expenditures, which is like your roof and your AC. You need to be saving for that. And you can't really make money if you are paying out of pocket for those things. So the rent needs to at least cover your mortgage, so at least you can save by yourself for those big expenses, big ticket items that come up. The other thing is, you can also, if you already have a primary home and you want to own, you know, something where you house hack, you are essentially going to live there, but you can do a conventional loan too for 5%. I know conventional loans will give you just have to put 5% down. You just know that you need to save a little bit more money depending on what market you are in, right? After that, it took us, I guess, about 2 or 3 months from the time that we got under contract in the property to the time that we closed. And the process was pretty flawless, right? Our journey has obviously evolved since we started 4 years ago, but I would say we've learned throughout the process. In the beginning, I was not like saving for all this maintenance, all the expenditures, because we were both working. We made more than enough. Our mortgage was covered. We were fine. But then I learned that we do need to be saving for these items every single month when we get our rent. So things have changed. But I would say, if you guys are looking to get into the house hacking lifestyle, certainly you will save a lot of money. You will save a tremendous amount of money with your housing expense. But after that, you need to learn, okay, I don't only want to save money, but how am I going to invest this money, right? I think that is really my husband and I's goal, is where are we investing this money so it can bring us more of a return on our investment, right? We invested about $25,000, let's say, and we were able to buy a $370,000 asset, right, in our name. So I would say that if you are doing this, these loans are a great way to leverage the bank's money, right? And just make sure that you're considering everything that comes with it, because you are responsible if something, you know, is damaged, if something. Another tip I would say for those that are looking to house hack and you're doing like a duplex, triplex, or a fourplex, I would say do not have in your lease that you are going to have the washer and the dryer covered. Tip for you. Something that my husband and I have learned. Why? Because the number one thing that I've been told to change is literally the washer and the dryer. So if you have washer and dryer already there, great, they can keep it. But if it stops working, it's not in your lease, you don't need to change it. If they want to change it, they can, but you are not responsible for changing that anymore. It's literally the number one thing that the tenants that I've had have asked me to change. Everything else has, for the most part, there has been no complaints. So I would say don't put that in your lease if you have different units. The other thing for people that are house hacking, I haven't done this myself, but I have learned about it, where you buy a house with, let's say, 3 to 5 bedrooms and you rent out per room. I would recommend, a tip that I learned, is you actually put in the contract that you are going to have a cleaner. You're going to pay, everyone is going to pay for a cleaner to come out to the house, every 2 weeks, every month. So if you live with people, everyone's hygiene levels are a little different. If you live with people who are a little dirtier or cleaner than you, at least everyone feels like the house is being taken care of because you are all chipping in to pay for the cleaner. So this is just a tip for the people that are looking to house hack, maybe not in a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, but you're looking to house hack maybe just owning a big home and renting out the rooms. So that's one way that you can do that. That's a tip for you guys that are looking to get into this. And I would say, primarily I look for my tenants through Facebook Marketplace. When we first started out, we did it through Craigslist. I wouldn't recommend looking for tenants through Craigslist, even though oddly enough, one of the best tenants that I had came from Craigslist. But I would say right now, and kind of like the world we're living in, Facebook Marketplace is a great place to find a tenant, as long as you're, priced correctly in the marketplace. Make sure you have a lease up front. I've gotten leases from a lot of different places, but I would recommend that you get a lease from something that is state specific. So if I'm in Florida, the leases that I have now are state specific to Florida, because Florida has different laws than other states in the United States. So those are just some tips that I've learned along the way. If you guys have any questions about my house hacking journey, it has been that one of the best decisions that I made in my life was choosing to go this route instead of maybe like buying just a normal house for my husband and I. So I would say house hacking has been an absolute blessing for us, and I would recommend everyone, literally I would recommend everyone to do it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, everyone's not going to do it, but it's a great way for you to really have to just kind of start off in financial freedom. And I'm really glad that we did it. And once I move out of my unit, this is just something else I'll rent out, and it'll help me to pay for my other mortgage. So, or whatever I have, maybe it's paid off, who knows. So I would just say it's a blessing, and I would definitely highly recommend it if you're looking to buy a property. Maybe you're not married, maybe you're single. Buy some property today and house hack and be on your way to financial freedom. So if you guys have any questions, please comment on this video. Please reach out to me through social media. I do reply back, and let me know whatever you guys want to see. I am here. I'm just going to give the people what they want. So just keep following. Thanks, guys.